What's up? What's up? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So happy New Year's to y'all. This is going to be the first official pod of 2026, as this is January 1st today. If you don't know, I've been away a bit. I was out of the country for a little bit, so I didn't have time to catch up on some music. But this week is going to be an exciting week. Just to let y'all know, we got our end of year review with our top artists and our top albums of this year, highlights, lowlights, or what have you. And we're going to have that. And we're going to bring on Ansem from BLG Bootleg Gang and also Reese from Torture Talk to go debate that coming up this week. And we got some exciting other topics to get to. A lot of news that went on towards the last couple of weeks in hip hop. But today, I'm going to start off the year by catching up on some albums that dropped that we didn't get to review. And I said I was going to get to eventually, with the end of the year, a lot of things are going on at the time. So you don't really get a chance to get to reviewing those, but now we're going to catch up and get to some of those albums that we didn't review that came out in the last couple of weeks. So first, we are going to start with The Game and his project, Gangsta Grill's Every Movie Doesn't Need a Trailer. Now, I want to start off by... We'll start off with a quick pick of The Game. Hold on a minute. Let me get my screen share right. Oh yeah, here it goes. All right, good. Yeah, so The Game. Now, we did a previous pod on this before regarding his subliminal, I would say borderline direct shots at Kendrick Lamar. The Game for a while has always been a very controversial figure in rap, controversial figure in hip hop, always seems to be beefing with somebody. Now, before we get to the review, I just want to address the back and forth with him. Not even back and forth, more like a fourth with The Game. Game's made a lot of statements and on a couple of podcasts got caught backtracking about him not going to the Pop Out concert, his relationship with Kendrick Lamar. He kind of twisted the narrative that he tried to sign Kendrick Lamar at one point off of some, subliminal tweets online saying that he's the king of the West Coast, the best rapper on the West Coast, and nobody can out-rap him. So just to sum it up, my whole take on this is typical Game. Game wants to tiptoe the line between controversy and being direct, in order to keep his name out there. He's the ultimate look at me rapper. He's done this with Jay-Z. He's done this with Eminem previously. He's done this with 50 Cent. He's done this with plenty of rappers where he's tried to sort of insinuate or kind of jump off a beef or jump off a competition with them and insert his name as why he should be in the conversation or better than them. And he'll go out from doing all out diss songs to Jay-Z and all out diss songs on Eminem. Where recently in an interview, he totally backtracked and gave Eminem props with his interview on Club Shay Shay. So he is the ultimate bipolar rapper and a controversial figure. But what I will say is he does have bars. He is a strong rapper, strong lyricist, which we'll get to in a minute. We'll break down his lyrics, and he has a following given he's on the West Coast. But the fact of the matter is, and if I'm Kendrick, I don't respond to any of this. I think you could almost argue that Kendrick may have given some slight subliminal shots to Game on GNX for him not attending the pop out. And maybe this is a rebuttal for some of his songs on the Gangsta Grills tape he just put out. But to me, I think it's much ado about nothing. It's the Game being Game. It's Game trying to incite controversy and then backpedal a little bit and try and give them props at the same time. And he's done this plenty of times. He's done it with 50 Cent, in the 2000s, where he did a whole mixtape dissing 50 Cent, and G Unit. And then towards the end of the 2000s, he begged for G Unit to get back together again. So this is much ado about nothing. You know what I mean? And it's typical Game being Game as to what he does. Now, let's get to the music. Let's get to his mixtape. Now, I said I was going to get to the lyrics on here. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go ahead and recite bars bar for bar, but I'll start off with talking about what I liked and what I didn't like. I did like the production on here. I will say that the production to me was top notch. I think Mike Keys was the one that did the production on here. And I think the production was strong. I would definitely say this production is the highlight of this album. I think I probably rated like a 9 out of 10, probably the production. So the beats were top notch. You know what I mean? So I'll give him props on that one. Now, flows and energy, I would see, this is where I'm kind of torn, because I like Game's voice on here and I do like his energy on here, but some of it comes off as corny. I'm not gonna lie to you. And this is one of the songs that I didn't like. Like, he tried to openly mock, in my opinion, and go after Kendrick Lamar on Left Out by going ahead and taking shots at Kendrick on Left Out, sub shots on here, but also stealing his style. Now, he did this with Eminem and what have you, and it just fell short. You know what I mean? Like, on top of that, he tried to do a Good Enough. I think Good Enough is the song, or where he tried to do like a drill, New York UK drill flow on here. That kind of didn't fit the tone of the album. You know what I mean? So I wasn't feeling that, because it didn't really fit. Like, why are you doing that when you were just doing, traditional hardcore, real hip hop, the straight bars on here? But I do like his energy on Clown Emojis. And I do like his energy on America's Nightmare, which is probably the hardest song on there, where he takes shots at the younger internet generation of hip hop, and also takes shots at younger rappers, with maybe some possible subs of Kendrick Lamar on there on American Nightmares. And overall, like, his demeanor was pretty good on here, but he had some weak moments on here flow wise where I'm just like, why'd you do that, man? You know what I mean? So flows and energy, I had to go with about a 7 on there. Now, lyrics, this is another tricky one for me, because like, Game has some bars on here that were pretty good. Like, when Game comes direct, he can be a very good rapper. But again, Game has his faults. Like, and he goes ahead and he actually alludes to it. No, it's me. I got a name drop. But see, some of the name drops on here was just cringeworthy. Like he goes, Max B is free, free as a wave. Like, what is that? I'm booed up like LMA. You know what I mean? Like when you're when you're coming like that and you're just name dropping just to name drop, that's weak. That's weak lyrics for me, man. And I gotta knock you down for that. But that's typical Game. And he has some other corny lines on here, like I'm blood, I don't give a fuck if I bleed. Like, come on, man. And he tries to do the whole 6'7" thing and tries to fit in with a younger crowd. And he said, 6'7", that's how I feel, right? Like he just and he messes it up because it's like if he just comes direct at you, he could be a very good lyricist. Game is, I say he is the greatest of all time. He is the GOAT of saying nothing but saying something at the same time. Like he is the king of filler bars that don't even need to be on the record, but he puts them in there anywhere and says, hey, it's me, I got a name drop. That's corny. You know what I mean? And here's my thing on the name dropping. Name dropping is cool if you're slick with it. If you make, a double or a triple entendre out of it. We're going to get to Conway the Machine in a minute, and he name drops on there. But the way he does it fits within the song and the context, and you get the metaphor, and it helps with the visualization. It's just not like, oh, I'm booed up like LMA just to make it rhyme. So lyrically, I gotta go with a 6, man. Like there are some cringeworthy bars on here. But when Game is direct, he's on point. Like on America's Nightmare and some of these songs, he really does deliver. So I got to go with a 6 on here. It's kind of mid because I got to take the good with the bad. Features on here really wasn't all that strong. He had a joint with Ty Dolla $ign. That was all right. The Mike Bellinger feature really didn't add nothing. Not Ty Dolla $ign, Jeremiah. And that song was pretty good. The rotation song. It wasn't too bad. What else? Who was on here? Mozzie was okay. The OT Genesis joint, I really wasn't feeling. So I probably have to go with a 6 on that. You know what I mean? So really, I'd have to go with a 6 overall when it comes to features. Now, as far as some of the songs that had a lot of replay value on here, I like Chrome Hearts was pretty good. Nice soulful vibe. I think America's Nightmare is probably the hardest joint on here. Clown Emojis too. That was really, really I would say a real like street gritty New York street type of record. Like y'all would feel that. What else was there? Quarter Zips and Matcha was pretty good. I like the vibe of Rotation. That's like a summertime vibe record, kind of good. I like the concepts of Head of State. If Game was president, what would he do? So he has some good conceptual records with Head of State and the Assassination of Candace Owens, which delves into a little bit on the political realm and calls out hypocrisy when it comes to certain people and certain views. So I do like that. Even though it's a controversial record, having to deal with the and he delves on the whole Charlie Kirk assassination and all of that. But it's a decent record, conceptually. What else did I like? Those are pretty much it. Those are pretty much it as far as the songs that had replay value. Replay value overall, hip hop has been a very strong year this year, and Honestly, I'd have to go with like a light 7 on the replay value with this. It really didn't, you know, stay too long on the playlist. You know what I mean? So I would have to go with probably a 7 with a replay value. So overall, where am I going with this? I'm gonna go with a solid 7 out of 10. The production carries it. Game has his moments on here. You know what I mean? Lyrically, where he comes off, energy wise, where he comes off, but he also has his cringeworthy moments on here. This is a standard Game album. Game will have you on some bars thinking he's the greatest of all. He's one of the greatest West Coast rappers of all time. And then he'll be like, why did you do that? That was corny. He'll add a bunch of filler bars in there and filler name drops that makes no sense. So it's like you get the best of both worlds and the worst of worlds on this album. You know what I mean? And it's typical Game. It's promo for documentary 3. We will see where that goes. I don't think the whole Kendrick Lamar subliminal back, really forth. But if you want to call it back and forth, is going to go anywhere. But if we're really going to talk about it, if I had to say West Coast wise, who was the top 5 West Coast rappers? I think Game is out of line by saying he's better than Cube. He's better than Snoop. I think he's out of line right now by saying he's better than Kendrick. Kendrick said, Game said that nobody can out-rap him on the West Coast. Bro, go check the tape. Kendrick out-rapped you on Red Album. Kendrick out-rapped you on Jesus Piece, man. And if y'all don't want to check the record, go and listen to those songs on there. I'm not going to pull up the songs right now. Go to the Kendrick features on the Red Album and Jesus Piece. And Kendrick so got the better of Game on those records. Game tried to copy his style. So that's all I got to say on that. I mean, if we're going to go top 5 all-time West Coast, I'm going to leave Dre out of this because he's obviously a producer more than a rapper. But I'm going to have to go Tupac, Ice Cube, Snoop, Kendrick Lamar. And I'm sorry. Look, I think Nipsey Hussle overall is a better rapper than Game. That could be a good debate because Game obviously has documentary. But I tell you what, Nipsey Hussle might not be the lyrical miracle master, but as far as real talk, real energy, and real street rap and motivation, he was the king of that. I would say Nipsey Hussle is my 5, and then Game could be out of that top 5 because Game is just way too inconsistent for me to really put him in that elite class. So that's where I'm going with that. Okay, so outside of that, Game, Gangsta Grills, every movie needs a trailer. I'm going 7 out of 10. Real quick, let's get to another rapper that dropped, and that would be Conway the Machine. All right, as far as let me get my banner out of there. Let me pull up the Conway the Machine. So I'll admit, towards the end of the year, there was a lot of music that came out. I mean, we had the whole Nas and DJ Premier that was going on, and the hoopla around that, and there was a lot of discussion about that. We had a lot with the Fab verse and the Fab Jim Jones Mano and Dave East versus 50 because of the social media beef going on, which we'll get to later. We're going to have a debate about that coming up. But kind of lost in the shuffle was Conway the Machine dropping a new project this year. You can't kill gods with bullets. And I'll admit it, first I slept on it a little bit, but I took some time, I did some more listening to it. And this is a really, really solid project. I think Conway did a good job with this project overall, even though Conway stayed within his lane. You know what I mean? Conway, to me, is the analogy I will give people is he is the modern day Styles P. He stays in one lane of street content that, and he doesn't go out of it. You know what I mean? He doesn't delve too much into, maybe a conceptual songs, even though he did have some concepts on here that was pretty good. He doesn't go outside of his zone. He knows his comfort zone, but he does his comfort zone very, very well. To me, he's like the Styles P of Griselda, while Benny the Butcher is more the Jada Kiss. So I do think he does a good job with that. So he does deserve his respect as a top 5 street rapper of this current era. And I think he solidifies it even more with this project that we're going to get to, which is You Can't Kill God with Bullets. So let's pull that up. Hold on a minute. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, but this is definitely something that at first I slept on, and it actually did grow on me a little bit. So I will say that. What did I like? I think the production again was top notch. I had to go a 9 on the production on this with Conductor Williams, Alchemist. I think Derringer produced on here, and also Justice League. Justice League came off with some real smooth joints on here, Lighting Above the Adriatic Sea, which is real smooth, like boss type of record. A rags to riches. We coming from this to that type of deal. So I do think the production was top notch. I would give that a 9. Flows and energy. I think Conway definitely brought it on this one. He's never going to have too many down tempo records or records where you just don't feel his vibe and feel where he's coming from. The realness was definitely coming out on this, as always. Some of the hooks and some of the choruses were kind of corny, were kind of repetitive and corny. So I can't give it like a full 9. I'll probably go 8 overall. I'll probably go 8, maybe 8.5 on that. So I really do like that. As far as some of the replay songs that I would replay, I like the way it starts out. I like Gunpowder, the Lightning Above the Adriatic Sea, fire record. BMG is dope. I like where was the one? New Devils, Otis Driftwood. I checked that out. Mahogany Walls, Persian Nights. And I think Persian Nights missed 17.5. I'm thinking Mr. 17.5 from Young Jeezy, but 17.5 is fire. That's a hard cut. Conductor Williams did the beat on that. That's a real banger on there. So that's gonna be on repeat. And Attached, which he doesn't, even though he doesn't delve too much into concept records, I like the concept with him having a relationship with a toxic woman on here. And I like that you just got to listen to back and forth. And Lady London did her thing on this. I got to give her props for that. Definitely check that record out. And I like, I think it's Organized Mess. The Alchemist did that beat, which is a real dark kind of a real gritty beat. Gives you a vibe of like an Alfredo type of beat on there. So a lot of the songs have replay value on there. And this album has good replay value. I would say the replay value is about an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely, I checked that out. Features, not many features on here, but Lady London did her thing. I noticed that. The Rock Marciano song, which was one of the singles, I wasn't feeling that too much. That was kind of mid to me. I'll admit, like I wasn't feeling the maybe it was the beats that they had before. It was kind of skippable to me, but it was okay. Hell Let Loose was hard, but I didn't feel Tony Yayo on there. Tony Yayo gets kind of annoying real quick. I like the G Herbo feature, New Devils. That's pretty good. And the Lady London feature was pretty good. So I'll probably say 7 to 7.5 on features. You know what I mean? And I bring my feature banner up. So features, I would probably have to go 7 to 7.5 overall. And lyrics, I'm gonna go with a strong 8.5 out of 10. I think Conway, again, he doesn't go too far out of his comfort zone, but he's effective. And referencing back to the Game album that we just did, he name drops on here, but he makes it work. You know what I mean? He has some name drops on here, but he makes it work, and it goes in the flow of the song, and you get it. It's clever. It's witty. Like, that's what I like. You know what I mean? He makes references, as Griselda does. They always make sports references that gets in the flow of the song. And if you're a sports head like me, you get it. You know what I mean? So definitely the lyrics, I would say, is definitely 8.5 out of 10. Always, I mean, he's never going to go over your head lyrically where you say, wow, he really did that. But he doesn't go out his comfort zone. He knows his sweet spot. He knows where he wins at. So I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10 on that. And I'm going to say overall rating. Let me get it out right. Overall rating. I'm going to go 8 out of 10. Strong 8 out of 10 for this project. It might sneak in my honorable mention or my my top records for the year, but I definitely go 8 out of 10 on this one. So 8 out of 10, Conway the Machine. I'll give him credit. He does his thing. You can't kill God with bullets. And it's like Conway kind of makes the same album over and over again. But the thing about it is, he's rarely going to take an L. Like, he knows where to win at. He knows his market. He knows who he's going after. And it's going to be strong street hip hop. I mean, you're guaranteed that. Some albums you're going to feel a little bit more than others, but he's never going to be the guy that's going to put out maybe an Alfredo 1 or a King's Disease 2 or something like that. But he's going to give you strong, solid street hip hop, and you're going to dig it. Definitely. So I'm going to go 8 out of 10 for You Can't Kill God with Bullets on that one. So those are our first 2 reviews of this year, which was really carryovers from 2025. Stay tuned for a lot of content. We have a lot of hip hop to catch up on, including our end of the year reviews, which is going to be coming up in the next week or so. So definitely stay tuned for that. And with that, enjoy your New Year's Day. Happy New Year to y'all. Happy 2026. And I will catch up with y'all later. All right. Peace.